All right, we are live. Excellent. All right, well, hello everybody out there in the interwebs. Thanks for joining us. My name's Ski.
Daniel.
Chance or Andrew tonight, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Bad timing for me.
Yeah, today's just, we're going to talk to Andrew about Warzone, and we're going to talk about some Wargamers Con. We'll talk about some Warcry, possibly throwing some Ever-Chosen stuff in there, and whatever random stuff. I believe in that. And then let me make sure here. If it's not posted, I did post our Discord link for anybody who wants to jump on there, post pictures. There's 2 channels for pictures. I'm still working on the Discord to make it a little bit more interacting, but we got that going on now. So, but yeah, you guys have a good week?
Yeah, pretty good week.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, this weekend was we did a local tournament that I was pretty pleased with the results on. It was our 2v2 first annual Chaos Bowl with random opponents, completely customed scenarios, and a way overpowered gift from the Chaos Gods that could be used once per tournament. And it was an interesting event. I'm hopeful that the next one ends up having more players, because we had 10 people show up, so it wasn't bad. But it ended up being then that because it was a 2v2, lots of people ended up playing each other multiple times or playing with each other because it was fully random the whole way through. So I'm hopeful that next time we end up getting a little bit bigger of an audience pulled in to have some crazy fun times.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I had a work function, unfortunately, man.
Too little, too late, Chance. Too little, too late.
I know. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Learned a little bit about some things that I need to make sure I do a little bit different next time. But overall, I think it went well. And we had a first-time tournament player take first place.
Oh, who won?
His name was Matthew.
Okay.
What was he playing?
He was playing KO.
Oh, wow.
KO, surprisingly enough, gets a lot of benefit out of other people's allegiances.
That's not surprising.
Ended up getting paired with Deepkin once, so couldn't shoot at him, and they just kind of hung behind the Deepkin and shot at other people. Got paired with Stormcast once, so got buffed with another +1 hit attacks because of a prayer. BCR got paired with Bone Splitters, and so they Hand of Gorked the Frost Lord all the way across, or not Hand of Gorked, they double move speed the Frost Lord on turn 1, so he moved 39 inches, and then charged.
Did he have to charge? I mean,
he could have rolled Snake Eyes, so it was possible he could have missed, but it was there were some pretty crazy shenanigans. I'll be tweaking a little bit about the wording on how things work for next time, but I'm definitely going to go ahead and do another Chaos Bowl next year. I'll just have to figure out exactly what I want to do for it to make it even crazier, because there was just not near enough random bullshit popping up in people's games for me.
Yeah.
So what, Ryan got the reality splitting axe?
No, the reality splitting axe actually went to Priest of Sigmar. And so never got used. I also made sure all of my gifts were double-edged. The reality splitting axe was basically the reality splitting axe from the War Scroll, except when you activated it, if you rolled a 1, you killed yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Dude, those are good shenanigans.
But there was some fun stuff. Somebody had Beastclaw Raiders, which was Ryan's army. He ended up getting the Khorne ability to pile in an attack on death for a unit. So I don't know what he gave it to, but that was his boon. Somebody got disgustingly resilient to be able to put on a unit, except that it was called Rotting Flesh. So every hero phase, he took one unignorable wound as he fell apart.
See, that's awesome.
That's good.
That's the kind of shenanigans I love, because it makes the game fun, different, still challenging all at the same time.
That's actually really similar to the Gloomspike Gets Shaman guy. Poison.
Yeah. So we'll we'll have to see how things go. But like I said, next time I'm going to be making some slight changes, but I'm going to do it again. And Mogwai Man was the Bone Splitter, so it was Hand of Gork.
Oh, nice. Yep. Yep. I can't wait for that book. That's all I can say. But oh man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man. Well, hopefully I can make it next time. You know, it fell on the Ever Chosen weekend, and I put a lot into my entry and wanted to help support a store that I go to for right now, and the people I'm with, and they had a 40K tournament the same day, and then there's a bunch of stuff just going on that day. So I was glad I was able to go to the store and help.
Yeah.
And some amazing entries. There's a lot of good Ever Chosen entries, like national, international. I saw them all over the place that day.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if our local store did the.
Yeah, buddy.
Did Ever Chosen? I'm not sure on that one. Do you know who the store local that did Ever Chosen?
They did, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it wasn't as well advertised as some of the other places.
Yeah.
But I did see some pictures online. I saw your own picture. Looked pretty good.
I ended up winning.
Congratulations.
Store. That was pretty. I wasn't expecting that because I was doing it to support, not for the win.
Yep. Well, talent will shine.
Yeah.
I love painting rocks.
Fair.
Sorry, that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to bang out
some
rocks.
Contrast paint on it and call it done.
Yeah.
No. So this is what I'm working on. So that's the start. That's the finish. Here, hang on.
Nice.
And then so this is a fully finished base. Hang on. This is with resin, tufts, and everything.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the army is, because Chance is playing it close to the chest here. He's working on a new secret project army that he's going to bring out maybe next year.
No, I think it'll be ready by October.
Okay.
So
he's been playing it real close to the chest, and he won't tell any of us what it is. So the local crew started taking bets.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate.
My personal thought is that it's probably going to be some kind of hoardy Slanesh.
Hoardy Slanesh.
Yeah.
You're going chaos, just in general. Like
but because he's got the oval cav mounts, so that makes me.
I mean, that's all cav now.
Well, yeah, but it's the oval cav mounts, right? So there's actually a limited number of armies that qualifies for.
The chariots. Does the chariots have them? Any type of chariot have those?
Not that size. The big ones, yeah, but the small one that he was showing off that he was working on, that's a regular cav.
Yeah.
So that means it's not Nurgle, because there's not any Nurgle cav that I know of.
I'm resurrecting my Seraphim.
Oh, you're just playing Seraphim Knights?
Fireland Star Host. No.
A double Fireland Star Host. That's the way to play them.
There you go.
2 Carnosaurs. Oh yeah.
Yep. That's my Seraphon army is 2 Fireland Star Hosts and a Slan.
Oh yeah.
Or I could be doing STD Knights.
You could be doing Slay the Darkness Knights. You could be doing Seekers, whatever they are. Not Seekers, Striders. Khorne Cavalry's on a wider base, so it's not going to be Khorne. Tzeentch doesn't have cavalry.
Oh, they have discs.
Yeah, but they're not on that size base. You're not doing Skaven, because Skaven don't have that size base. Could be Eels.
Mm-hmm. Let me. Yeah, maybe. Is it the deep?
It's the right size. It's the right size.
Yep.
But the problem with Eels is that I feel like for Chance they're too one-dimensional.
Yep.
Play to turn 3 and then win.
I like Thralls better anyway.
Yeah, I do Thralls. That's the army I'm actually working on.
I was disappointed Thralls did not get the point reduction I wanted.
It could be Blood Knights.
Ooh.
Because Legion of Night is actually, or Legion of Blood is really strong. A lot of people don't play it, and it has a lot of options.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what's going on right now. My money right now is still on Slanesh. Is that it's got the bullshit that Andrew loves.
I'm gonna say Deepkin.
Okay, I'll say it at the end of the show. So.
Oh man.
Show off who's the Zenithal highlighted.
Oh, Mogwai man, you should probably let everybody know he's gonna spill the beans.
So he's working on that. I'm working on my zombie dragon for Adepticon Beast Horizons painting competition.
Nice. Nice. I'm currently not working on anything, and I should be. So I'll have to figure out what I want to work on.
So we got that. We got that. So what do you want to hit next?
Let's see what you want to talk about. My turning, some Warcry. I don't have anything new on Warcry. Have you got something new on Warcry?
I have seen so much stuff. I'll have all my stuff this week. I know Iron Jaws are going to be very resilient and very scary. Daughters look great. They have so many options with the daughters, and I think it's going to be a numbers game, like them and the Grots. They're going to be, it's all about numbers and finesse. They are repackaging the Mausoleum and then the Storm Vault box for the Ravaged Land, so you're going to have 3 different styles of terrain for the game. With 3 war bands. So this is what's crazy. It's all about patterns, right? I was talking about this a couple weeks ago. So we get the box set, we get 2 factions plus a Cypher Lord. So there's 3 factions right off the get-go. Next week is pre-order. I'm guaranteeing next week is 3 more factions altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So once they're done releasing everything for Warcry, I mean, there's 2 secret factions still, in the book. Signs of Flames and the I forget what the other guys are called. But at that point, it's like, okay, then I know there's a bunch of 40K stuff coming out the next month for Space Marines.
Yeah.
And so then after that point, it's Orcs, Beastclaw, Cities of the Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar.
New box set announcement.
So
yeah, there's going to be, it'll be the 2 new books and the new box set. Yep. And whatever this Tithe of Bone is probably going to be the new box set.
And what I heard, it was Beastclaw Raiders versus like an undead type faction.
Death Rattle and like the new Maul Tribe.
Yep. Which is really cool.
Death Rattle makes sense for the Tithe of Bones.
Yep.
Or it's going to be a new vampire spin. They're going to do something with Legion of Blood to make it stronger.
Yeah, while you're building that Legion of Blood army.
Yeah, which I think would be great. I mean, we talked about the Legion of Blood in the beginning. Like I think that's where they're going to go. But there is speculation. I know Spiky Bits. I'll have to give him a shout. They did a very good breakdown on the rumors of characters that are coming out that people are like speculating. And I read through the whole article, looked at the fluff, and there is a possibility this is not going to be Bone Splitter, but it could be a Bone Splitter-esque type army. Not Bone Splitter. I mean, sorry, Tomb Kings. So I'm thinking it works right now. Tomb Kings-esque type army. There is a possibility of that.
Yeah, the tricky part there is that the fluff, and this is one of the rest of the Slambo crew was talking to me about this, is the fluff for Storm Vaults is that it's a servant of Nagash that got stored there.
Yep. And
Tomb Kings are historically well known for not being servants of Nagash.
Well, and I heard too though, Nagash, if it's there's 2 people, and I forget their names, 2 characters that Nagash does not like.
Cetra and it's the guy with the K.
Yes.
But the tricky part is in the Tithe of Bones, they say my master, so it's definitely not Cetra.
No, Cetra would never call Nagash his master.
Nope. So it's going to be really cool what they do. It might just be it could be just Vlad.
Vlad would be cool to see reborn.
Yeah, I would not be upset if it's just the Van Karsteins.
Yep.
Like, I would be super thrilled if the Van Karsteins were re-released.
Yep.
I know a lot of people who'd be grumpy about it because they got rid of all their zombies or their vampire lords, but I think that would be cool.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. So I think that's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be cool. I think that's gonna be a very cool selling point. Very good marketing tool as well. A brand new ISK Ogre army.
Yeah.
A new Death Rattle type undead army. So
I think it'll be pretty neat.
Yeah.
It'll be whatever the one new model that Iron Jaws is getting with their new book.
They're getting more than one.
We'll see. We'll see.
I just think we're getting terrain, scenery, book. I don't see us getting much anything else.
I think
Prayers,
that you're
not in the spells.
Yep, you'll get prayers probably over endless spells. Although
Prayers.
it could be either way. Orcs with the Iron Jaws and Orcs, it could go either way. I could see both happening.
But and since it's Bone Splitters, this is what's kind of. And I thought about this last week. I was like, well, if they were separate armies in the beginning, now they're combining them. So now, are we all only getting one set of spells and one set of terrain, or are we getting two different sets of spells and two sets?
No, you're going to get one set of spells and one set of terrain,
which is such a disappointment.
Well, I'm willing to bet you it's going to be something similar to how the Git mobs did it.
Yeah.
Where you have two, you're going to get 4 spells, not 3, and 2 of them will be Iron Jaw spells, and 2 of them will be Bone Splitter spells.
Yeah.
But the terrain will be shared.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what the terrain is.
Yep. Yeah, and I think as long as the word chanter is a freaking prayer, I'd be happy.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
But yeah.
And yeah, no, I know they're still separate armies, but they're from a marketing perspective, they're not going to sell. It's very unlikely. I'm not going to say they're not, because GW makes weird decisions all the time, but it's very unlikely that they will sell a set of cards for Bone Splitters, a set of cards for Iron Jaws, a set of cards for the combined book, spells for Bone Splitters, spells for Iron Jaws, and spells for the combined book, and a terrain for each of the 3 armies as well. More likely is it's going to be one set of cards, one terrain piece, and one set of spells for the whole Maw tribe, with rules inside of that for these spells are for this one, these spells are for that one.
Oh yeah, big time. I agree. Because I usually end up buying the cards for every faction because they always go out of print. And so if I ever decide I want to start an army, I already have the cards.
Yeah, that's fair. That's real talk right there.
Instead of hunting Felipe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if I don't ever play them, it's okay because then they're good reference. But yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see if it's released in time to qualify for the October GT.
So I was just gonna bring that up. So that will be the deciding factor if I come down and play.
You're not going to come play if it doesn't release?
Why? They're not going to nerf IJ by then.
What's that?
They're not going to nerf Iron Jaws by then.
Yeah. I see. I have my perspective on Iron Jaws right now is not the same with everybody's, and it's okay.
Teleport the Maw Crusher.
I've done it.
6 run it. It's a 3-inch charge. You can't fail.
Yeah, I know. I've done it. And then after that, my whole army just kind of goes because I can't keep up with the top tier metas right now.
No, you just smack in some Vor bikes, support bikes, whatever you want to call them. You just smack those in there, and you're good to go. 2 3-man squads, back it up with brutes. That's game.
Oh,
see, what I think is interesting is you don't teleport the Maw Crusher. You teleport a 30-man squad of Ard Boys.
I can kill Ard Boys.
Well, sure you can, but you're not going anywhere turn 1.
Well, actually,
That.
if you outfit the boys the right way, they're 30-man blob with all the shields, with one-handed weapon, with both
shields are a big deal.
That's hard to get rid of them, unless you mortal wound them to death. That's the benefit for
right.
that.
And since the Iron Jaws are doing the charge, right? Whatever they're going up against, they're not doing it to kill you. That's not what the Ard Boys are for.
Nope.
They're doing it to say this is where the fight's going to be. And they move their army up to right behind their boys. They don't worry about getting into combat turn 1. That's not the reason they're doing this.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I've got a couple months to think about it. I want to, if the book comes out, I'm making a caster orc army for October. And it's going to be the Great Wall of casting, if they do it right, with prophets and shamans.
Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting one to see.
Even if I don't even care if it does bad, I want to do something so different for once instead of like this is how you play Iron Jaws, this is how you play Bone Splitters.
Yeah, that's the big worry that I've got is so there's two problems that I can see happening, and they're the opposite sides of the spectrum. One is they lean into the builds that they've already got and say this is the build that you play with Bone Splitters. It's you play Cunning Ruck, right? So here's the better version of Cunning Ruck that is less stuck for your opponent, but still ridiculously strong.
Yep.
And here is the I'm in your face turn 1 Iron Jaws build. Or they nerf those 1 solo builds without giving them anything else.
Oh my God! Don't.
I think that's probably more practical with GW's history.
Yeah. And it'll make me so sad because like Iron Jaws will live because in my opinion, Iron Jaws is built point for point, has the best models in the game.
Yes.
It has crap synergies, and it has crap support.
Yep.
But the actual model you get for the points that you spend are the best in the game.
Yep. And we talked last week, and I actually sat back and looked at everything, and you're right, Daniel, with the whole Iron Jaws is where armies should be.
Yeah.
Like that's where all the armies should be down. Not because I'm an Iron Jaws player, but it made sense after I went back and looked. It's like, yeah, a three game tournament, I might win 2 out of 3. 5 game tournament, I might win 3 out of 2. But it's all about the dice roll and maybe positioning. It's not, oh, I have this awesome combo of mortar wound spam and no, it's the point for point strategy. It's all there, and I totally,
right.
So
yeah, whatever you do to bring in the balance to that stance, the ideal way would be every army would probably have an average of 3-2 at 5 game tournaments.
Yep.
I mean, it's impossible to do that. So 2.5 and 2.5, right? Average it out, but you want to have like a 50-50 win-loss ratio for the army. Now, what I find really interesting about this is that there are so many people who play this game that if your armies aren't perfectly balanced, even the smallest difference will result in those armies winning more often than not, because the people who are good and want to win will play the army that has the slight advantage. They're also good, so that will make them seem like they're significantly better.
Yes.
Which in my opinion is a big part of our rankings. I don't think the armies are so dramatically different as a lot of people think. There are periodically instances where one army is so much powerful than other armies. Yeah. Yes. But I think it happens a lot less often than everybody seems to think it does, because what really is happening is the best players in our game are going to the armies that have the slight advantage and then winning with them and making it seem like that army is unstoppable.
So you mean like John playing Feck?
Well, yeah. So that's actually honestly a really good example. Napic.
I love his Skaven list. I really do. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I really like that list. I like it fundamentally. I
worry about that list's ability to kill things.
It's not about killing; it's about control with that list.
That's what people say, and then if you don't have if your control isn't perfect turn 1, you're shit out of luck, because now you have to unseat your opponent.
That's true, and that's what John ran into, I think, in Houston a little bit, is that he ran into that issue.
Yeah.
I mean, and with the downside of the control Skaven army is you have no ability to control who goes first, because you're not going to get that drop count down. So your opponent's going to get to decide who goes first or second, and if they're all intelligent, they're going to go first, get into position, and say, all right, come take me off of the points.
I think I'm the outsider on drop counts. I really do. I don't stress drop counts, man.
I don't.
I don't worry about it too much as a general rule.
I mean, I run a 13 drop army, and I just kind of shrug it who has first turn. I don't worry about it in the end.
Yeah, no, and there are part of that's what list you run with, right? Well, if your list is all about the ability to stop your opponent from moving and place obstacles in their way with endless spells and slow them down and all that fun stuff, and you go second, and when you have the chance to throw it out, they're already where they want to be.
Yeah.
Your list isn't going to be very successful.
So that's kind of what we were bringing up earlier with me taking the Soul Snare Shackles and versus the Geminids or even Purple Sun.
Yep.
It's kind of the same argument.
Yeah, and
Marathi is going to be able to do what I want her to do with it.
Well, and the fact that you don't actually get to double the cast range of endless spells with Marathi.
No, I hate that FAQ.
I think that FAQ is absolutely necessary.
I don't see the problem with a 24-inch threat range Soul Snare Shackle. I don't see it.
It's not the Soul Snare Shackles that I'm worried about.
What? Purple Sun at 19 or at 21 inches? That's
yeah.
No, it's a 50-point spell. Yeah.
Now that it's 50 points.
It's fine. It won't hurt anything.
Like I wish I could do that with can I get like a 30-something inch footage work off all the time?
I don't see the problem with that.
Yeah.
So, with your Daughters of Cain for Warzone, So talk to us about Warzone and your experience and your,
It was a hectic weekend. That was a stressful weekend. I played some really good players. So I played turn 1 against Stormcast, and he played the kind of a generic semi shoot cast. I think he had 2 Ballista, Lord Ordinator, something in Mumbo Jumbo. But it was a fun list. It was a good list. He was new to the tournament scene, so I kind of played the game a little bit slower. I let him kind of understand what I was doing. I definitely telegraphed a little bit more than I normally do on tournament play. But that was partially because he was newer to the game, newer to tournament scene, and I wanted him to feel a little more welcomed at the table. Sorry, I'll kill my painting light so it's not as bright on my face. And then who did I have round 2? Oh, I had Corn round 2. That was a fun game. That was a really fun game. What did he get? So he started with a Thirster, Axe and Whip Boy, and he brought him back 2 times. So that was fun.
Yeah. So was that the Thirster and then a bunch of small units just to die to be able to summon more Thirsters?
Yeah.
That's stressful.
Blood Reavers, and so feeding. And I chose the battle line. Which is super easy to do because he had odds. And so I just lots of whatever the so I went to the
Oh man, you're starting to fade out here. You're coming in and out.
Yep.
Uh-oh. I'm ghosting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that better? Maybe.
No. This is the opposite of better.
No. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we've lost camera. Oh, camera's back.
Camera's back, I think.
Is it back?
Well, so the it's a little grainy, but that's okay. The bigger problem was starting to infect the voice, and it was harder to hear you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I have a feeling someone's starting a stream at the house.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
One of the kids starting their show downstairs. So that was my game 2. Game 3 was Caleb, the Seraphim who had the LED lights embedded in a bunch of his dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So really pretty army. Total Commitment, which is by far the worst mission for Daughters of Cain. Easily by a mile. It forces me to split apart my army. It's not what Daughters of Cain are about. I need my synergy. I need my bubble. I don't know how I ended up getting it, but I got the game by a point. So it was a rough game. It was a fun game, but I really thought Caleb had me the entire time. So that was a good one. And then day 2, I ran into Zach's his stupid Hearthguard Berserker's list. I had that on, was that Places of Power? No, Better Part of Valor. I had that on Better Part of Valor. And I could not have asked for a better mission to play that army against. I was able to string Zach out, force him to have to march across the field, which is what dwarves don't want to do. And I had the ability to thrust up and then retreat back and kind of manipulate the table. And then I had that insane game 5 against Gavin and his Legion of Grief.
So with that new army, like that new, because that was a new allegiance, basically.
Most work.
But how do you feel about that new allegiance?
So I've been playing around with some different test builds of my own for a Legion of Grief list. They got nerfed for sure in 2019 because of the Arch Regents coming up from FEC at 240 a pop instead of 200. You can only get 1 in the list now instead of the 2, which is a huge deal for that list. So you lost some of the summoning capabilities of bringing in Flayers because of their Mortar Windscreen. And with Bravery debuff, since it's against Bravery, is a huge deal for that army.
Yeah,
it was a really, really neat list, though. Man, it was a tough list to play, though. Gavin's ability to dictate board control was a huge deal in that game. I mean, he just had so much mobility with the amount of fly that he had, his ability to stack Bravery debuffs. It was huge, Ski. I mean, it was huge. This is coming from a doc player, which I usually don't worry about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. and I remember sitting at the judge table because you were really on the top table, top row for like a lot, most of your games.
Yes. So I mean, from game 3 on, I was up towards either table 2 or table 1 the entire time.
Yeah, and so every time I'd sit there and I'd watch it, and I could just see you playing, and I could just see the
smoke
amount
from
of
the ears.
well, the mind power. Like literally, like he was in such a deep thought. Like he couldn't. I would walk by and you could just see it. Like he had to like focus and like because of the people he played against with the armies that they were playing, he was totally like exhausted. When I look at it, I think he was mentally exhausted after every single game.
Game 3 and on, I was really feeling it.
Yeah.
It was definitely that struggle of can I stay focused and not get fatigued.
Yeah.
Because Saturday night, a bunch of us went out. A bunch of the Dallas guys went out. You came out. Scott was out there from LVO. It was a cool time. But I would rather have just drank and not had to worry about waking up the next day to play Zach. But I didn't have that luxury. So.
Well, and Zach and Gavin they played in a doubles at Adepticon.
Jeez.
And I think they won it or were in the top or whatever. Like they are solid. They're solid.
I need Chance to go to Adepticon the same year I do because I want to do doubles with him.
Do doubles with me.
Got to figure out what doubles to do because we'll have to be same Grand Alliance. But
there's a lot of us looking at that. I mean, I'm going this coming up year. I don't look like I'm going to play. I'm looking at more the painting competitions and the seminars and stuff. But if someone twists my arm and goes, "Hey, let's do some doubles," and we have some kind of synergy, I might. I don't know yet, but no. So, what do you think about? Okay, so first year for Houston. There are some things I'm working on. Me and Kyle have already touched on some things. We're going to adjust a little bit of things. But overall, what was at the tables, the terrain and the tables and stuff? Like, I know you brought some tables down, which was amazing. Like, our community was amazing. I can't thank that enough.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But what'd you think overall? Like,
so I thought for 44, 46 players, which you guys were at starting on day 1, I thought was amazing. What you guys were able to throw together table-wise, it was fantastic. It definitely puts a measuring stick in place for what we're going to do for the Slambo. There's very little questions about that one. We got to step up our game, Dawson. Hate to break it to you, man, but we have a lot of terrain to paint.
Yeah, we do.
But I mean, it was really neat seeing just how Texas responded as a whole. And then I know you guys had a bunch of help from obviously Feel No Pain and then also Goldmine, right?
Goldmine, Feel No Pain, Atomic,
that was the other one I couldn't remember.
Fat Ogre.
Okay. And
then, of course, all the gaming groups and a couple individuals. Like Spencer had his table out there, and then oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. Kevin Duran, the other Firestarter player, had his table out there.
I thought your locals, just how your local stores help support was huge too.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really neat to see. I'm hoping that a couple of our local stores here in town, Heroes Retreat, maybe Night's Watch, will help us out a little bit with Slambo GT too, just because of how neat that was with what I watched Houston do.
Right, and it wasn't just Houston though, because you got to remember it's like you guys, you helped, and Heroes /Grimdark, they actually gave us some price support when they did the 40K event. I got a hold of Mike, and he was able to help with price support for us, which was amazing. An outside gaming store. But it was just seeing the gaming communities. You had Slambo, the Weird Knobs. You've got the Grand Alliance Houston. You've got the Citadel. I mean, that spoke a lot of volume, and that actually. When I tell people stories about how it came together, people are so impressed of the Age of Sigmar community.
Well, I thought that was a really neat aspect of the weekend, just watching those communities come together like that. I didn't realize how much Texas Masters, one, it's a competition, sure, but two, it has created this awesome framework for friendships to exist now.
Oh, yeah, hands down. Like, I met most of you guys the one time last year at Wargamers Con.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally, and then since then I haven't hung out or nothing, but it just feels natural.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I would say that I think the big part of why this group's working so well is because there was this decision early on when the Texas Masters group got together to say, hey, let's let's make a big part of this the community building side. Like it's not just about, hey, let's find the best player, right? Because if we had built Texas Masters to say, hey, battle points only, like just win the games, and then whoever wins the most games, they're going to get crowned, the champion of Texas. It would be a very different organization and feel than what we ended up with, where it was like, hey, let's give people extra points if they go to a game outside of their city, right? Like that right there is huge. Like, yeah, you can gain a better chance of getting into that one of those final slots simply by traveling to other cities to play games with them.
Yeah. My first ranking on the board was going to Austin and playing John's first the narrative down there with where Daniel basically shot me to death in turn 1. But it was great. It was a great experience.
It was absolutely a great experience.
It was.
It was wonderful. It was my favorite Skaven game I've had in a long time.
And I'm glad I could perform that and help you with that. Like that sounds funny, but that's always what I drive for when I play.
You didn't play the double bell against him?
Say again?
The double bell list? You didn't run
No, that was an 1,000-point list, and I brought all Scryer. So it was a shooty list.
I'll play your Scryer list any day over that double bell list.
Yeah, but see, that's what I drive, though. I drive to have, when I play somebody, I want them to have a good time. Because usually if they're having a good time, I'm having a good time. Even if I'm losing my balls off, it doesn't matter. Like
even if I'm not having a good time.
Like it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, it's true. It's true. It's my goal has started shifting into that somewhat when I play. Although, I got to have a good balance between playing games where the goal is to have fun and playing games where I've got an opponent who's really just trying to be a cutthroat asshole in the game to be a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're sitting right there. So, Andrew, if you can just plug your ears while I talk shit about you.
So that was actually my biggest surprise from Houston, was how well I scored on sportsmanship. It is not my strongest suit, and I think Dawson even can add to that. I play a comp army. I play a not nice list. Mm-hmm. I'm used to not scoring well because it's that kind of list.
Yeah, and just for anybody who's watching who's not familiar with Chance, he's a great guy, but when he plays competitively, he's playing competitively. He's playing to win, and that's what's important.
Guy. I'm not a jerk. I'm just a very serious person, and it comes off as very standoffish.
Yeah, because like Ski was saying, when he's challenged, he goes quiet and he stops being camaraderie because he's concentrating on what's the best move. How do I pull myself out of the situation I'm in? How do I keep the advantage that I've got? Because there's always the chance that I could lose, and this is what I'm here for, is to win this game, right? Yeah. And so it's very easy for somebody who's not familiar with Chance to play a game with him and then walk away like
the jerk. Yeah.
Wow, that guy.
I get that. I know it's my personality. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't, but.
But once you get to know him, or if you're that kind of player, you appreciate that kind of game a lot.
Oh yeah. Well, and there's a balance though too. So like, watching, going to Wargames Con, seeing how things went there, meeting everybody, looking at Warzone, watching some outside videos. I did a lot of digging in the UK on how they do their games, how they play the games. I have some friends up there, watch some of their videos and just see the environment. And I enjoyed the environment of the game, the sportsman of the game, because you can be competitive. You can be that guy that's focused, on the game and wanting to win, but at the same time, you can have fun doing it.
Absolutely.
Both players can have a good time. Go, man, that was an amazing move. Like there is those points where, hey, give me a second, don't talk to me, I'm trying to figure things out. And then at the end, it's one thing saying it and not saying nothing after. It's another going, hey, don't talk to me right now. After doing it, hey, sorry I had to say it to you. I was just in the game. My mind was blown. People respect that more.
Yeah.
Instead of just being that dick and like, hey, don't talk to me. Like,
well, and I think that there's a big element too that we play each other a lot.
Yeah.
It's one thing for you're playing a stranger who snaps at you because you try to be friendly, and it's another thing when you're playing someone who you're friendly with who's like, hey, stop it. Stop trying to distract me. I'm trying to win the game.
Yep. Yeah, that does happen a lot too. but yeah, I just, with our GT, we were just trying to focus on all three elements. And looking at it, I think some things have to be tweaked, but overall, I think I'm pretty happy where the direction we're at, and it kind of showed too.
I would definitely agree with that. I think that overall it went really well. I think it went really well, and that's not based on how I placed. That was based more about the fun that I had there. I was really surprised at the amount of fun that I had. Wargames Con last year was my first AOS GT I've ever done. So I definitely had a different mentality going into it than I did here at Houston. And so I had a blast. I really did. The guys at Houston, TOs, you, Kyle, Steve, the rest of the crew, I could not say enough kind words.
Well, we didn't have many issues. That's what was the best part too. We ran like a couple small things that were basically just small, just looking up the wordage on something.
Yeah.
But
you're gonna get that with any group of people who play together. There's nothing wrong with people disagreeing over what they remember being the FAQ.
Yeah. Well,
for some of us, we're learning new things about the game we didn't realize too.
Also true.
Yeah. I mean, there was one point we talked that night. We all went out and we were talking. I was like, I do remember we had one of the FAQ issues. I was like, I do remember something like that, and I understood, but I was like, this is I wasn't like that's the rule.
Right.
I waited to the next day till it got brought up. Kyle, we grabbed the book. Me and Kyle looked through it. We found where it was at because it was actually published,
March or something.
Yeah, March, and we thought it wasn't until later. So, and that was fine. And both players were happy with it. They were like, you guys were on it, fast, accurate, gave us the answer. It was great. So,
because in March, I think they addressed the bravery characteristic versus wound characteristic issue that came up.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing, but it's a huge deal if your army's based upon bravery modifiers.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Its wound characteristic doesn't change even if you're damaged, it's still the same. But if your bravery is modified, it's modifying the characteristic.
Positive and negative.
Yep.
Which got really interesting in that game with Gavin, because I'm like, so I'm +1 because the avatar, and then I'm -7, so.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man. So now we're talking about Wargamers Con. So some news that we've been working with. So I'm gonna spill the beans and I'm gonna take some credit on this. I mean, it wasn't me personally, but so last year, usually FMP usually streams the live table for 40K. It's one table or something, and they do a live stream like they did this year at Warzone. They live streamed the top table on Twitch, which actually solved the first game. There was a massive problem, and since it was on Twitch, people caught it, and it actually saved someone in the game.
Wow.
And it was really cool, like the way it handled, which surprised me. I didn't think it would be like that. But we got reached as FMP, we were reached out to live stream the top table for Age of Sigmar this year.
Yes.
And that will we are going to be doing that. I'm going to end up I'm TOing with John. I know there was 3 or 4 tickets left for 100 people for Age of Sigmar.
That's the part that's got me. My heart's all aflutter. 100 contestants.
Yes. So, and that's the reason I took the step back, because I want to play my orcs. Don't get me wrong, I love my orcs. I love playing the amount of people I enjoy playing, hanging out with. I'm giving up one thing, but at the same time, I'm helping someone that needs it. I will enjoy it. I can't wait to look at paint jobs again. I'm going to be bouncing off to the top table, doing some commentary off and on. So I'm excited for that aspect. And then if my book comes out before October, or if the City of Sigmar comes out beforehand, and my Dispossessed have a good spot, and I can find other models, then I'll probably play them for October.
Nice. Yeah, I'm planning on bringing Skaven to Wargames Con. I'm going to go to the North America GT the weekend before, and then Wargames Con with the same list.
Okay.
So I'll get a lot of practice in at the North America GT to get myself comfortable. But then for October, I don't know. I keep trying to figure out a way to make a competitive Nurgle list, and I'm struggling with finding something that works.
So the Nurgle Forest spam doesn't really work anymore?
Well, you can't. The forest spam was never really that viable, unfortunately.
Okay.
Isn't it where you just take Plague Monks, a couple bells, thankful?
There's a list that I could do. I could do the pestilence list. It doesn't quite work as well as it did earlier, and I'd have to make some adjustments because the Plague Monk went up by 10 points.
Yep.
Well, Boatman doesn't work the same way either.
And Boatman doesn't work the way he's supposed to. But I may revisit that list.
Was it like what, a great and clean one, 2 bells and just a bunch of?
Oh no, it was 160 Plague Monks, 2 Furnaces, a Thankful, the Warp Firestorm, and the Bell, or the Boatman.
Boatman, okay.
And so you buffed 1 unit of Plague Monks, and then you Boatmanned him, so they moved 12 inches, and then they moved 6 inches, and then they charged.
I got my first taste of Plague Monks last year at Wargamers Con versus Evans, and I ended up killing every single rat. But let me tell you something. I hate fighting Plague Monks.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're fully buffed.
Oh, yeah. And then Thankful's throwing the Death Frenzy on them so they get to pile in an attack. And yeah, it's just not a fun list for anybody.
I mean, I thought it was a really fun list, but that's from a different perspective, I think.
It was a challenging list, but it if you're not looking for that kind of game, it's so grindy.
I misplayed my cauldron too big time.
Oh yeah, I punished. He made his cauldron. He left enough space for his cauldron to get 5 Plague Monks in to attack him. So I killed his cauldron.
See, those games like that make me like. I play once and just opens my eyes. I'm like, gosh, this is out there, and I'm like, what else is out there? You know, they just like, you know, playing Blades of Corn. You know, between the 2 different variations, it's like, oh my gosh, you know. And then you play something not as crazy, and you're like, okay, I can handle this. But then, yeah, it's nice to see these different lists out there that are amazingly hard to play against, but they're also hard sometimes to play. That finesse part. And I miss that. I mean, like I said, Iron Jaws is kind of a one-way train of playing, besides being offensive or defensive. Other than that, it's kind of, you know, nothing really changes.
Well, I mean, even in the gimmick list right now, with Iron Jaws, if you don't get that teleport off, that game becomes very interesting for you as a player to control correctly.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I think some of those that's where I think the delineation at Wargames Con is going to be for those Iron Jaw lists.
Absolutely. Is what do people do on the 1 game, the 2 games out of the 5 where they don't get the teleport spell off the first turn?
Well, if they position right, I mean, if they do it right, they don't need it the first turn either. If it just depends.
Well, so it's not required, no. And then, but if you get it, you've got everything you need in combat. Turn 1, pretty much guaranteed. There's no questions asked. If you don't get it, then you have to figure out, well, how do I position myself to make sure that I get the best advantage later? And there's a lot of potential things to worry about in that situation, because if the Shaman dies or if the Maw Crusher dies before you unleash, suddenly you're in a much worse position than you were.
Oh yeah, and that's right.
Shaman's 5 up?
Yeah,
Shaman's 5 up.
Yep, and that's where I guess kind of bugs me, is it's like I have to rely, like the army relies now on the new update.
Yeah.
And then like I guess that's where it's. I love my Iron Jaws. I played them against Seraphon and 2 weeks ago, and I love the new update. It was fun, but it's that one trick pony, and it's like, okay, I did it, yay. Okay, now it's back to the same uphill grind.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, the way that lists that are top list because of the list, that's what they're going to be.
Oh yeah.
If the list is good, it's going to be because there's a gimmick that when it goes off, it's basically unstoppable.
Well, and most of them are like more than 1 gimmicks though.
The lists that are good long term aren't they always win list. They have a lot of tools in their toolbox, and good players are able to use the tool that they need. The lists that are the firecrackers of AOS, like Gristlegore,
Oh gosh.
or like Iron Jaws right now.
Yeah.
Right. They're good because they have this punch of some sort, whether it's a spell, whether it's an ability. Plague Monks are actually, in my opinion, one of the same things.
Yeah.
Those lists are good not because you have the ability as a general to pick and choose what's for the right opportunity. They're good because they're just a good ability.
Yeah.
And until the meta shifts to account for that ability, they win.
And that's like the not the teleport, but the other spell that's what I'm going to design my army around. It's about having X amount of units around my shaman, and then for how many units around my shaman, I pick enemy units, and they get mortal wound spammed.
Right.
Well, same thing with your plus casting.
Yeah.
I mean, model as a +1 cast.
But like, the thing is with the Iron Jaws, right? I've played them now, so if I go up against an Iron Jaws that has that list, okay, I will deploy more than 18 inches. No, more than 24 inches from their front line, regardless of what the deployment zone is and what that costs me on turn 1.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to let his entire army engage me.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's basically the end of that.
Right. If you get your turn 1 shotgun, I get a turn to put my buffs up and to throw spells out that are going to cause problems for you. Yep. Possibly teleport all over the place and deep strike things in places you don't want them to be. And now you have to deal with all of that. And your army is not meant to account for multiple threats on different places in the board.
Yep.
It's not that Iron Jaws are a fabulous army. It's that what they have just fucks you up if you don't play to counter it.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I think deployment shenanigans are a good way to get around Iron Jaws right now, too.
Yep. And there's a couple...
Turn later cast correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's going to either be deploy far enough back that only one thing's getting in range, or deploy one unit of 40 clan rats across my whole front line, and everything else is 4 inches back.
Yeah, I mean, I would never do it with 30 Sisters of Slaughter.
Oh gosh, yeah, they'd be like, okay, what do I do turn 1? Nothing. Go.
Yeah, and then you give me turn 1, I say, okay, I advance everything 6 inches. I still have a line.
Yeah.
You're not getting to me.
Yep. Oh man.
Which we're on, and don't worry about it.
You can just see the faces on Iron Jaws players when people will do that. They'll just be like, really?
Like, you brought that list, buddy. If you can't deal with this, I don't know.
I mean, there's no point. I can get the objectives turn 2 and on. I don't need to stress them.
Yep. And that's really the thing that's the big separation, I feel like, between people that win tournaments frequently and people that are playing armies that are good. Comes down to how well are you at not winning on turn 1.
Yeah.
Because that's the big thing that you kind of have to learn how to do to counter a lot of these lists, is say, oh, well, okay, well, I'm just going to lose on turn 1, and then I'm going to win. Right? I'm just going to sack turn 1. You can have the whole board.
Yep.
Now I'm going to win.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's a big part of the strategy right now in the game. Big part.
Like, for anybody listening that's going to Wargames Con, if you play a list that has a lot of bodies or that has that first turn deep strike, just play back.
Yeah.
Let them come at you, engage, either make them engage one big unit and lose it and just throw away the unit, or be far enough back that they can't get to you in one turn. And when they give you the first turn to try to entice you to move forward, don't take the bait, buff up and wait.
Yep.
Never. That's not what Daughters of Cain do at all.
And then if you're playing one of those lists and you try to make them take the bait and they don't, then play chicken with them.
I think it's if we go back to Warzone Houston, Gavin tried to force my hand with that bait.
Yeah.
He tried to get the double turn on me at the bottom of 1, top of 2, by forcing me to go first. So I said, okay. And so his bet was I was going to stay back and buff up. And I was like, he's betting on me buffing. I'm going to charge.
And now, did that impact did that decision impact the whole rest of the game, like that, for that one decision?
Yes, it forced him to have to put his Bladegeist and his Wargast and his engine into a buff 30 blob of witches. And so I figured Gavin's gameplay was to get me to chicken and sit back.
Okay.
And it was a game where I, as a doc player, feel very confident on holding 4 or 5 objectives.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I'll play this. Like, let's go.
Yep. And that's the big part that you have to kind of do with some of these armies is you have to decide. Not every game is won by blowing your load on turn 1. But not every game, but sometimes that is what you need to do, and you just kind of have to be, what's my opponent's? How are they set up? What happens if they get that double turn?
Well, I was able to get a crazy screen across the central objective, and then I had those witches just spaced out to a point where they were just dominating too much in the middle of the board.
Now, if you didn't have charged, what was going to be the impact? Like, what if you didn't?
If I hadn't pushed forward, he would have been able to summon in on my would have been upper right-hand flank, and then my lower left-hand flank. He would have been able to bring in everything on both those flanks on me, and it would have been able to pretty much just pincer my army in. And
so, for anybody that's watching out there, those are the types of stepping up to the table and trying to read the table, read your opponent, know the objective, know somewhat of the army that they're playing against. It might not be because it was a newer version of a new allegiance army, but that makes the difference. Just that alone, because if you play into it and it works, then you get lucky. But if you're making the right call at the right time on just something that simple, that's how that is. That was that simple, making a decision, going, yep, I just need to move up.
Yep.
Kind of like with Sylvaneth back in the day with Draca, where she would deploy in the forest and just do her AoE and just spin everybody and kill everybody. Well, if you knew she'd get at her, you just deployed up a little bit farther up, and she couldn't do it. Like you stop that one little strategy every time.
Well, so I mean, anytime you play Sylvaneth, you just take the trees. Whenever they deploy the trees, you take them. Eat the mortal wounds, deal with it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yep.
I don't care what army you play. I don't care if you have mortal wound protection or not. You've got enough bodies. Eat the damn mortal wounds.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Sylvaneth's big power is convincing you to be afraid to deal with their trees. Yeah. Once that fear is gone, their power is heavily shot.
Which then brings me up to a very good point. Is what do you think of the new Sylvaneth book? I've read it, and I am just wow.
So Hunters.
Yeah, I'm furious that there's another army that's more resilient than Khorne.
You mean Nurgle?
Or than Nurgle. Okay. Yet another army that has come out that's more resilient than Nurgle. Absolutely furious. Now, granted, it's resilience in a different way, and I'm not mad about them having this option. It makes sense. The whole idea of having an army that's built around regrowth so it can just constantly put minions back on the battle that sprout from the ground. It's cool. But Doc, Fire Slayer dwarves, Sylvaneth. Next up is Sigmar, and then Order across the board will be better at staying alive than the army that's their one shtick. That's not true. They're the fastest army in the game now. But
Nurgle, yeah.
Yeah. What world do we live in now? Nurgle is the fastest army in the game, and every Order allegiance is more durable than Nurgle is.
Oh, they've been fast since 2.0 came out with the drones. Right?
Yeah. Well, so they've been fast since their book.
Okay. Yeah, because you do the trees plus the drones and just...
Yeah, the tree plus the bell plus the allegiance plus cogs plus, and you end up having, your plague bearers who are normally a 4-inch movement are now moving 13 inches.
That sound like Iron Jaws. Huh.
Right, and they can run and charge.
Oh, okay, we don't get that.
Right, yeah. Suddenly Nurgle is the I can turn one engage on any list. Come at me, bro. Oh wait, I'm already at your face.
Iron Jaws gimmick. We don't fail charges if it's 3 inches and under.
Hey, 4 inches for some of those units.
Yeah, that's true.
+2.
Yeah.
I realize how sad you are by that, but at the same time, that's a really powerful elite. That's a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
To have it so that you can't fail a charge. Right.
I don't. I can't wait to see Sylvaneth with the battalion with the Dryads, where they can retreat and charge with their trees, where they're going to be summoning 10 every turn.
Yep.
You've got the Kurnoff Hunter with the Deuter with swords, exploding 6s with mortal wounds, extra attacks, And
So I'm still a bigger fan of size.
no, size
Size and 6-man blocks, I think, are still the better play. But
I think
I
think it's an even split. I think between the two, if you have them both, I think
swords and 3s and size and 6s are where you play it at.
Yeah.
I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I think that with the artifacts and spells they have now, you're going to see almost guaranteed 10-man blocks of dryads coming out every turn.
I don't think there's a reason to run anything bigger than that.
Huh?
I don't think there's a reason to run anything more than just 10-man chap squads.
The only one that is the exception is there's that one battalion that gets the ability to retreat and charge is actually huge for positioning. Yes. So you'll have one 30-man block that's doing that.
Yep.
That they just retreat from you, wrap around, and then charge again.
It's Siege's list he posted up on the tournament prep.
Yeah.
You have to have at least 3 units of dryads for that. So.
Yep.
And then the list that I was looking at is the list where you're healing something like 6d3, 2d6, and 3 every turn, or something like that.
Jeez.
Like it's just you have the Everqueen who's there who lets you heal d6 to something.
Yep.
You have the spell that she also takes that lets you heal d6 to something.
Yep.
You have another thing that lets you heal 2d3 to something, or d3 to something.
It's the endless spell, isn't it?
You also have the endless spell that does that. Then you take the endless spell that lets you do that. That's the mosquitoes. Like you can, your opponent has to be dealing more than 20 wounds a round to make progress.
Yeah, it's easy. It's totally easy.
And then you take a Son of Durthu, and if they don't kill him, he's at full health again.
Dude.
Well, then you have a spell too for your Tree Lords to act as if they're not wounded at all.
Yep. Well, but you don't need that spell. Like, sure, you can take it if you want to, but on your turn, you heal them up to full.
Well, and they have the battalion with the Spirits of Duthu battalion. It's like
the Tree Lord Ancient spam, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
No, I think that what's going to be a really powerful build is going to be the one where your general gets the ability to retreat 6 inches after, or move 6 inches after he activates.
Mm-hmm.
It's glued like it's on a Magna Squig.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's on a Durthu. Yeah. So
with the sickle, which gives him +1 attack with his damn sword.
Yeah.
So he's at full health. He's going to retreat from you 6 inches. So you can't.
Right. So you get 1 unit to kill him, because if you don't, I heal him to full.
And his range is 2-inch range.
Yep, 2-inch reach. Yep, he's super good.
Yeah. So you charge him with 3 units, right? I've got people on either side of him that prevent you from getting a wrap. So then on my turn, I activate him and then move him 6 inches back, so you can't attack him again.
Oh, and he has that freaking the stomp.
Yep.
Oh, there's no way to give him fly, is there?
Well, yes, you could if you take an artifact, or if you take a battalion, because then you could give him Thermal Rider Cloak.
So I would take Thermal Rider on him over the sickle for the extra attack, because
then
you can guarantee your 6 inch move with fly. And it doesn't matter if you get bubble wrapped. To be able to wrap in 6 inches is so hard.
Oh my gosh.
Well, even 3 inches, a 3-inch outside.
Well, so if you get a full encircle, he couldn't retreat even if he could fly.
But so my thing is, Dawson, there's very few units besides 40 Plague Monks who could realistically do that, though.
By themselves, sure, but if you're if you're playing that list, you got to kill Durthu, because that's basically what the list is built around.
The biggest thing I still see is the mortal wound weakness.
But even then, you got to kill him in turn 1, in 1 turn.
Yeah, so you argue Blackheart, and you Arcane Bolt, and then you charge him.
But he's not unique now. Spirit. I don't think Spirit.
He hasn't been since AOS.
Yeah, he's AOS. Yeah, in AOS, he's just a guy.
He's a jump.
So yeah, imagine a couple of those.
Yep. But only the general gets to retreat. That's the thing.
That's true, but okay, you take 3 of them. One's a general and 2 in front. You're just like, okay, what's up?
Yeah, but and then you take as your battle line the guys with the pipes, so that you can just teleport them wherever. So your opponent can't take his whole army off of his backfield, because you've just got guys just hanging.
Yep.
And all they're doing is just staying out of the way, so that if your opponent overcommits, they just teleport in and claim objectives.
Yep, that's crazy. I mean, I'm liking what I see with Sigmar. As long as everybody gets, like, I know I'm with Daniel on the whole. The power creep is getting high, and it should come down. Everybody should come back down to the level. But if everybody gets to the same level, we need to stay on that same level.
Yeah, I think we're going to see power creep continue for another year to 2 years, and then we'll see them do a dramatic redistribution of some sort of rules.
I think this time next year we're going to get a 3.0. I think GHB 20 will be a 3.0.
Because I think so after what the books are coming out, we've got a Seraphim book that needs to be coming out, Slaves of Darkness, a Zeech book, and a Seraphim Zeech.
Just leave Zeech alone.
Nah, because that army actually intrigues me.
I don't want to play Change Host ever again.
God, no, I hated playing Change Host. Although, with my current list, I'll play Change Host any day of the week. Fuck those guys. I've got better shooting than you do.
I don't want to play Change Host. No. It's just such a grindy army. Mogwai, no one cares about KO. No one cares about KO.
Okay, so with KO, there's a couple, Deepkin and Nurgle. They will not probably see an update until after the new edition.
Correct. I think Doc's in the same boat with Deepkin.
I think everybody who's gotten a vote from Nurgle on, except for Khorne, is going to see that. Khorne will get an update every other year.
Yeah, and so with Stormcast.
Same with Stormcast. But Khorne and Stormcast will get updates all the time because they're poster children. People love them. They're going to keep updating them so people will stay involved. Yep. Everybody else, if your book came out from Nurgle on, you're probably not getting an update. You're not getting a new book for certain.
Yeah.
You may get a spells in terrain if you didn't have any. Because
I would love some terrain for Doc.
I mean, and prayers in terrain for Doc, right? Like,
I don't care about the prayers, just terrain. Just give me some terrain, that'd be cool.
They just need to replace the Battle Shock community from Doc
with
an endless prayer.
I've told you all this for over a year now. It's never going away.
My one thing that I hope happens in 3.0, and it won't, but it would make me so happy, is that they replaced Battle Shock immunity with +10 bravery in the Battle Shock phase.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, because then you have a chance.
Well, I only use like 8 witches a turn anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, there's a couple of reasons. One is that doing enough damage can overcome that.
Yep.
Unlikely, but possible. 2 is if you have a way to proc a Battle Shock test outside of the Battle Shock phase, right? That's an ability that works around a functional immunity. 3, I can stack bravery debuffs to bring you back on the same level as you would be normally. Right? Because if I stack a -7 bravery debuff in my army and go up against an immunity, everything I brought is worthless. If I go up against a +10 bravery army, then suddenly that -7 bravery just brings you down enough to make effective. Right?
Yes, I don't think Mogwai is saying Nerf Inspiring Presence to be a reroll to hit or reroll. I would not reroll.
No, I want Inspiring Presence to do the same thing. It give +10 bravery to the unit. Yeah. Just get rid of the idea of immunity. Make it a flat +10. 90% of the time, that's functionally the same thing.
No, it is. Now, what about like Seraphim? Seraphim would be at +20. I mean, they'll be at 20 bravery, and you're like.
Well, then you get your bonuses for numbers too, still.
Right, but like I said, the benefit that it gives you is it introduces counterplay, because right now immunity bravery means that now the Battle Shock phase means nothing to this army.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if I bring bravery debuffs, your Battle Shock reduction goes away. So we've kind of countered each other with those choices.
Yep.
And if I go up against an army that doesn't have bravery buffs, then suddenly my bravery debuff is massive.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right. So now it's that choosing bravery debuff is a valid strategy no matter who you go against, as opposed to 1/3 of the armies in AOS make going Battle Shock debuffs worthless.
Yeah. Well, it makes the phase matter.
Right.
And that's where they got to keep track of not make every army, the phase for every army should matter in a dramatic way every time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And that's that way it keeps the game everything about the game matter. And you know,
Yeah.
it's like with me, my hero phase takes like right now, like not very long. Then I play other armies, and I'm sitting there like, all right, let me know when you're done with the hero phase. And so there's
Yeah.
a big. I know there's
Yeah, there were a couple of things like that we talked about.
Yeah.
Another one that I would love to see would be make it so the only rerolls you can ever get is ones.
Yeah.
Where's the fun in that?
It just makes things a little bit faster and in my opinion, a little bit better from a less need to try to manage all the buffs and all that fun stuff. If every buff is a reroll 1 to hit, wound, or save, all right.
There's nothing wrong with rerolling 90 dice twice.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Or 120. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's quick.
Or
It's
160
so
dice,
fast.
where or 70 of them are rolled one way and 90 of them are rolled the other.
Oh, your 6 pluses, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to reroll 90 to reroll another 90 to reroll 120,
Yep.
and then I got to reroll the 30 of that 120, and then.
Oh yeah, no, like I tried to figure out what the most efficient way to do it was. I ended up buying so many different colors of dice to be like, all right, so this dice means that. So now replace the 6s with this other colored dice and then re-roll them all at the same time. And oh my God.
It doesn't speed it up at all.
No, it doesn't.
It's the same speed, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's awful. But no, so that was one. What was he? It was the Battle Shock is a big one. Reducing the amount of re-rolls is a big one. Oh, modifiers. Just making it so no modifier stacks. You can only ever get a modifier once. Whatever it is. +1 attack, doesn't matter your source. That is the only way you can get +1 to attack.
Oh, you would kill Iron Jaws right there.
Well, they do it with cover. So, you know, cover doesn't stack.
Well, no, I mean, it wouldn't, but the way you can get around it is with Iron Jaws, for it as an example, is you can say, spend a number of command points, right? Roll 1 dice, get +6 to it, get plus the number of command points spent to attack, right? As opposed to using the ability 6 times, you use the ability once. It gives you +5 attacks. So there's ways around it, but what it prevents is like-minded buffs from stacking. So bringing 3 War Chanters to give +3 to hit to a unit, right? Like, you can still bring 3 War Chanters and just tack them on different units, but there's no more of this creating the one Uber unit.
Well, and they nerfed us in the beginning. I mean, of course, our Allegiance ability is no longer an Allegiance ability; it's a command trait. But that was the whole thing before the General's Handbook. We're like, oh, you can't target the same unit twice with your, you know, ability to move, charge, and pile in and hero phase. I'm like, okay, like they did fix that. So it's like there's other things they could fix, but
yeah.
My suspicion is Wall might get skyhooked.
Yeah.
We can go out on predictions. So
Meltdown in the Midwest has got me thinking that, just because there's like 7 Iron Jaws lists right now, 3-0 going into day 2.
Okay.
So predictions for the Ogre book, or not Ogre, for the Maw Crushers book, Maw Tribes, whatever it is, the Orc book,
The War Clans.
War Clans. That's it. I think you're right. I think we'll see a nerf to the WOG in some form or fashion. I think we'll see a buff to the WOG where it's easier to get +2, but you can't stack it.
I would agree with that. That would not make me upset. I got a 4+, you just get the +2.
Yeah, where as opposed to you roll it, and if you roll less, you get +1, and if you roll a 6 and still rolled less, you get +2. It'll be you roll it, and if you roll and then add the number that you have, and if then the total that you rolled is more than 6, then you get it, and if it's more than 10, you get +2, or something along those lines.
Yep.
Like, it is easier to get +2 off of one use of the command ability, but you can't stack it.
I'd rather be 50-50 at that point. Just make it's a 1 through 3, it'd be 1, and then 4 through 6 be 2.
It could be. I would personally prefer it to be something that's manageable.
I like the spikiness. I like the randomness. So
of course you do. You don't play the army.
I play a random army.
It's not random when you're rolling 900 dice.
It's still random.
I also predict that we will see a mounted shaman or war chanter on a boar.
Oh, I thought Maw Crusher were going to go with that.
No, I don't think we'll see another Maw Crusher mount. I think we'll see some boar rider minor heroes.
I'd like to see the Wyvern come back too.
I think we'll see a Maw Crusher without a mount. That's what I'm hoping for.
There could isn't Maw Crusher without a mount already a thing?
Nope. That's either Maw Crusher with the Mega War Boss or Maw Crusher with Gordrak. That's it.
Oh, and yeah, I would absolutely see that. I think, let's see what else there. I think that we'll see.
We need
I think
Mortal
Bobby's
Scan.
right. Yeah.
Huh?
Savage Attack's going to get nerfed. It's going to become unmodified 6s.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true, but that's where they're going with everything.
I think Iron Jaws will have some way of doing some type of Mortal Wound spam besides the Maw Crusher.
So I thought they would actually get protection from Mortal.
Yeah, I
Mortal
suspect they're going to get protection for mortal wounds, not to deal mortal wounds.
And we had that with the shields, and then they took that away. So they've nerfed us so much lately. I'm like, so they're nerfing all this for a reason. So
I think they're going to throw that in with the WOG.
Yeah.
Is that when you pop the WOG, you're going to pop a mortal bubble, a mortal immunity bubble.
Yeah.
I think that's cool, but it's like, again, it goes back to now you're relying on one ability to get all this massive stuff, and I'm like,
yep,
that doesn't make that.
It's every army right now. Though.
Well, actually, what could be interesting as a nerf buff would be you can only use a WOG once, but when you use it, it's an AOE around every war chief you have.
Okay, so that would be cool. Every hero,
like whether it's hero or specifically the war chief, mega boss, whatever, you know, like the idea being now it's not just one guy uses it. It's like the WOG pops, the army's buffed, and you have a couple of center points that are kind of creating the bubbles.
Or it's just a one-time use, one army, one battle use, and the whole army gets walled.
Well, so I would love to see the WOG just be your allegiance ability. Stop making it a command trait. Put it in the allegiance ability that the WOG is a thing.
Please. Because
right?
I'm not a fan. I just don't like the fact, and I mean, I'm not being the downing. It's just relying on command points to do everything for your army.
Yeah.
It's starting to drive me away because like I look at 40K and with stratagems, they're relying on cards to play their game.
Yeah.
And it takes away from the game. I don't want to have to rely and play a game of like command points have to be used or you can't play the game. Like it's so heavily reliant on command points. I want to go back to this is what your army does. Here's a limited amount of command points that you can get. Here's some cool things you can do to get those situational, but your army as a whole can produce without it.
And if they do something like that, it'll be probably similar to the Hedon Knights of Slaanesh and Skaven rules, where it's not a like, are you near the war boss? It's going to be how many orc models are nearby.
Yeah.
All right, then you get this buff, right? And it'll be a chart that you can get like +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 attacks, +1 rend, based off of how many 10 orc models are within so many inches from a different unit, right? Or how many orc units are within 10 inches or something along those lines. That would be a really cool way to do the WOG.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then on to the Bone Crushers or Bone Splitters. Savage going to unmodified, I believe. I actually think that Bone Splitters are a very, very good candidate for some sort of a horde mechanic.
Oh, easily.
I could absolutely see the Savage attack getting to unmodified 6s, but its effect is increased with the more orcs you have.
Yep.
Like it still only triggers on a 6, but if you've got similar to Hedon Knights, where if you've got 20 of them, you get 2, and if you've got 30 of them, you get 3.
Well, so Hedon Knights is on a 5+, and if you have 20 or more.
I thought it was on a 6 you would generate 1 attack. If you have 20 or more on a 6, you would generate 2 attacks. On a
so
6.
on 5+, it's 1 additional.
Yep.
So 5s and 6s instead of just 6s.
That is not what I remember reading, but I'll bow to you on that one because you're the one who's read the book more recently than I have.
Sure have.
I would see War Docs instead of being random. I think it will be either or. Their buffs will be, chose, not chosen.
Yep.
Wait.
Yep.
What is that?
That is a keeper. I told you.
Yep.
It's the kind of thing he likes. It's full of bullshit and shenanigans and fuck you. You can't play the game. I'm just going to play the game. Yeah.
That's the Matthew character.
I love that model.
That's
a great model. It's a fun character.
No, he's worse than keepers actually. He's probably.
The one thing I have to say is I play Skaven, so I don't really care. I'll just shoot you, and then I'll either win or I won't.
Sure, shoot me.
That's like there's not a whole lot the options that you have against Slanesh. It's the benefit I've got is I have a shit ton of bodies that have 1 wound apiece to throw in front of you, and then I just have to kill your heroes before you get to my more than 1 wound models.
Yeah, so I'm burning. It's a 4-drop army. It'll be interesting.
Nice.
All right. Well, it is now 8:20. I think it is time for us to sign off for the night. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Appreciate
Thank you so much. And you're welcome on here anytime.
Sure I am.
Hands down. No, I'm serious. So this is I'm doing this for Age of Sigmar overall. Come in, you say, hey, let's talk about this week.
Sure, man.
I'm okay with that. Like it's about the community. That's what this is for. Now I am part of the F&P crew and stuff, but this is the Age of Sigmar world, nothing else. So, but yeah, I do thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, and then so next week, if we're able to get him, I'd love to do a list dive with Napic, or even if he can't get there, if we can get access to the list, go over the list for Wargames Con.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that'll be possible for next week or the week after. It'll be the week after, not next week. Sorry. So next week, maybe we can do our first deep dive into a faction.
I'm not ready to submit my list.
They're due in 3 days.
I got it.
So, yeah, we'll try to do some deep dive. I know I've been asked, some people have asked me for some beginner stuff. Go over some of the mechanics, some beginner, refreshers and stuff. So we'll look into that. We'll also look into some Warcry because it's coming out. But yeah, other than that, I want to thank everybody that's on, that's been watching, or in chat. I mean, it's only been Mogwai Man. So thank you so much for the chat.
Yeah.
We're going to try to do this, every Monday. Sometimes we won't make it, depending on all the GTs that are going on right now, as well as everybody that's out there that's watching it that won or participated in Ever Chosen. Great job. It's great to get out there and participate and put your stuff to the test. And it's not about winning. It's about seeing where you're at and seeing where you can improve, and get the advice. So I hopefully see some models. I know the next couple weeks. We'll get the website will go up and everybody can vote on that. Other than that, patrons, thank you. Everybody else, thank you. And we'll be back next week.
Peace.
So have a good week. Be safe.